Hello, this is Mick Foley, and you are listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
What's going on, y'all? This is WWE Superstar Kofi Kingston, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
Hey, this is Trish Stratus, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored. Keep listening. Stratisfaction is guaranteed.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to Wrestling Uncensored. I am Dave Simon. He is Johnny North. We're here on TSN 690 every Saturday night talking professional wrestling. Without fail, we are here for you talking about everything in the WWE universe. If you want to hear us talk about, I don't know, Ring of Honor, New Japan professional wrestling, the indie scene throughout the world, we watch wrestling a lot. We watch a lot of professional wrestling a lot of the time. It takes up pretty much my whole life. I'm consumed with professional wrestling, but we can't fit it all in this 1 hour format. We can't talk about anything really other than the WWE here on Wrestling Uncensored. So if you want to hear our thoughts on New Japan, on Ring of Honor, on other shows that we watch like 90 Day Fiance or whatever, check out our official webpage, WrestlingUncensored.net. You could also check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. Johnny and I go live on YouTube talking to you, taking your comments every Friday afternoon around 12:30. We are live on our YouTube channel. It's called Dave and Johnny Live, and we talked about many things. We talked about Wizards. We talked about wrestling. We talked about Hell in a Cell. We talked about Wizards. Did I mention Wizards? There was a lot of wizard talk on the show for some reason, and magicians and all sorts of stuff. So if you want to know what I'm talking about, go check out our YouTube channel, Dave and Johnny Live, or go check out WrestlingUncensored.net, RingsideReport.net. All takes you to the same place, and you'll get all the info there. And if you want to hear the New Japan show, the special New Japan Pro Wrestling podcast that I do with Montreal wrestling legend, the Green Phantom, myself and the Phantom, we drop a podcast every month about New Japan Pro Wrestling. And the latest episode of What's Phantom in Japan will be dropping on our website and on our iTunes feed and everywhere else this coming week. So stay tuned for that. Myself and the Green Phantom talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling. A lot of stuff going on in that universe. But we stick to the WWE universe on this program because there is so much going on in the WWE. They're constantly building shows. They have so many big events coming up, and they are just building these matches far in advance and bringing in huge superstars from the world of professional wrestling like Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar showed up at the end of Hell in a Cell, broke through the cell door, attacked Braun Strowman, attacked Roman Reigns, caused a no contest in the Universal title match, and it was announced at the beginning of Monday Night Raw that Brock Lesnar will be coming back to the WWE on November 2nd in Saudi Arabia, live on the WWE Network. It will be WWE Crown Jewel, a special event put on by the sheiks in Saudi Arabia. They're paying WWE millions and millions and millions of dollars to put on this show like they did at the Greatest Royal Rumble. They're coming back for this Crown Jewel, and Brock Lesnar will be on the card challenging Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman in a triple threat match for the WWE Universal Championship. I was quite surprised to see Brock Lesnar show up at Hell in a Cell, but once he did and he attacked both guys, I said, okay. Right after Hell in a Cell, I was live on YouTube, and I said, Brock Lesnar versus Roman versus Braun Strowman seems to make sense. They'll probably do it at Survivor Series, because I thought Survivor Series was the big marquee event for November. But apparently, Crown Jewel is more important, and they're going to be doing it at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia, where I think we can predict that Roman Reigns will retain the WWE Universal Championship. Brock's not taking the title back. Braun's probably not going to be champion. I think Roman probably retains, and I'm really expecting that finish, and I'm not looking forward to the 2-month build now that we have, I guess maybe a month and a half, but still several weeks of Raw are going to be leading up to Braun versus Roman versus Brock. So once again, we thought we were done with Brock Lesnar after SummerSlam, But once again, we're living in a WWE world where we're just waiting for Brock to make things important on Monday Night Raw. Things, once again, feel pointless because we're waiting for Brock. Baron Corbin wrestled Roman Reigns for the Universal title this week on Raw. Not for a second did I ever think Baron Corbin was going to win the Universal Championship. Because I know that Roman is defending November 2nd against Brock and Braun. They have announced that match. They're not going to alter that match. Nothing will change to screw up that match. Roman Reigns is walking into Saudi Arabia November 2nd as the WWE Universal Champion. I believe he'll also walk out as Universal Champion, but that we will find out on November 2nd. But the important part to remember is, because Roman Reigns is advertised to defend that title on November 2nd, nothing will happen for the rest of September and all of October in the WWE as far as the Universal Championship. Roman will not be put in any danger. There is no chance that he loses the title. There is no real point in watching anything WWE does until November 2nd as far as the Universal Championship is concerned.
Well, you're saying this barring any injuries, he's still going to wrestle. He's still going to be put in danger. He's still going to be on Raw every week. He still has a big match at the Super Showdown show. So it's not like something could happen and alter the scheduled plan. It happens.
Yes, but it's not planned.
So. Right.
Unplanned things could happen in WWE, but that's just injuries, you know? It's highly unlikely.
Wellness failures.
Let's just say it's highly unlikely that anything changes for that show, right? And you mentioned the Super Showdown. That is the next big event that the WWE is bringing to us. We only have 2 more episodes of Raw and SmackDown before that big show in Australia, 60,000 people. It will be The Shield, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins taking on Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre in a 6-man tag. So the Universal Championship not on the line on this show. Instead, The Shield reuniting to take on their enemies on Raw, McIntyre, Ziggler, and Braun, which we've seen a lot of on Monday Night Raw over the past few weeks. And it's not over. Braun and Roman are going to be feuding until at least December, I'm thinking. Right?
Maybe all the way to January. Why not? Because it's the Rumble, right? More than likely, Roman's still in the title picture. So they're more than likely going to see them all the way to January. Why not? I mean, what else do you have?
On Raw?
Yeah.
Not much. Not much.
And this is the problem with him facing Baron Corbin, because he's kind of like the power figure. He's like the Vince in a sense on Raw. And Roman already conquered him.
Yep.
So there's not a lot of villains for Roman to beat now.
What's he supposed to do?
Well, it's really just Braun. It's the Ziggler. It's McIntyre. So that's why. And you handcuffed all your champions into one match, which I suppose is good, where we don't get just bombarded with title matches at the Super Showdown. But now nothing's really on the line.
Universal title, Intercontinental title, tag team titles are all tied up in that 6-man tag match, and none of those belts are on the line.
Like, nothing happens, but you are seeing all the champions on one show at least.
Who needs to see these guys? I don't care about that match. I don't want to see that match, and it really has no bearing on the future of what happens in the WWE. That match at the Super Showdown, Roman's match, is pointless. To me, the match at the Super Showdown, the one that matters, is Daniel Bryan against The Miz. Right? That's the match.
Well, Taker and Triple H is the match.
That match doesn't matter.
It does. It matters a lot now. Because apparently Shawn Michaels is coming out of retirement, which he shouldn't, but he is. So now that's probably the biggest thing in WWE.
Well, it's the biggest thing in the Legends bracket, I think. You know? But like as far as the real wrestling, the real company, I mean, Daniel Bryan is wrestling The Miz with the winner facing the WWE champion down the road. The winner becomes number 1 contender for the WWE Championship. That matters. Like, okay, Undertaker and Triple H is the match that they're focusing the most on, but it doesn't really matter. Like, okay, Undertaker comes out on Raw this week. He says, Triple H used to be a warrior, but now he does his battles in the boardroom. And I know that Shawn Michaels will be in Triple H's corner for the Super Showdown, but I will have my brother Kane in my corner.
Undertaker needs backup now, apparently.
Yeah, Undertaker needs backup because he's scared of Shawn Michaels.
He should be, actually. Of course Shawn's going to like
Shawn Michaels! So, like I was predicting, John,
Unfortunately.
there were rumors that Triple H, or rather Shawn Michaels, was going to come out of retirement for a tag team match with Triple H.
Can't believe it.
And I think that match will be happening in Saudi Arabia at the Crown Jewel. This match is to set that match up. And it will be Triple H and Shawn Michaels, DX, reuniting one last time to take on Kane and The Undertaker, the Brothers of Destruction, reuniting one last time. Last time ever, DX versus the Brothers of Destruction. One time only. You'll never see it again. Saudi Arabia at the Crown Jewel, November 2nd. That is what's happening here. Kane is going to be in Undertaker's corner. Shawn Michaels is going to be in Triple H's corner because we are setting up a tag team match at that show in November in Saudi Arabia. And I'm convinced of that. And I even told you weeks ago here on Wrestling Uncensored, Kane will be the Undertaker's tag team partner. It will be Kane and Taker versus Shawn and Hunter. That's the match. They're going to do it. When the rumors of Shawn Michaels coming back started kicking in, I said, yep, Shawn, Taker, Triple H, who's missing? The Big Red Monster. That's gotta be Kane.
Even though he's the mayor, he's going to do this.
Whatever. Triple H is like the COO, isn't he?
I think being the mayor is a bit of a bigger deal than being the CEO.
Of $1 billion company? I don't think so.
It's the company that he works for. Like, it's the wrestling company.
Yeah.
Like,
whatever. It's one spot. I wonder how
two spots, actually.
Yeah, that's right. He has to go to Australia, and then he has to go to Saudi Arabia. Not long trips, though. They're over the weekend, you know? I don't know. I don't know how his constituents feel about him putting the mask back on and going back into the ring. I don't know how Kane's constituents feel about him going to work for the Saudi Arabian government. Ostensibly, when the WWE is paid by Saudi Arabia to put on that show, it's the Saudi Arabian government that is paying you to wrestle. So, Kane, as a mayor of a town in the United States, is taking money from the Saudi Arabian government to put on a show for them. If I was a voter in Kane's city, I would have questions for my mayor, Mr. Glenn Jacobs. But I don't live in Knox County, Tennessee, so it's really none of my business. My business is professional wrestling and what's going to happen between Kane and Taker and Shawn and Hunter at the Crown Jewel. And quite frankly, I'm pleased. I am pleased that Shawn Michaels is coming back into the ring. I am pleased that we get to see Shawn and Hunter against Taker and Kane because it's cool. It's fun. They're some of my favorite wrestlers of all time. They're legends of the business. They're all Hall of Famers. Some future Hall of Famers. Shawn is in the Hall of Fame. But yeah, why not? Why not? It's going to get people talking. Match quality-wise, it won't be what it could have been, 10, 15 years ago. But no one expects it to be that. And I'm sure Shawn, as much as he says like he's lost a step and he's older and this and that, when Shawn Michaels retired, he was still the best wrestler in the world. He was still the number one performer in the wrestling business. And I would be surprised if Shawn isn't still better than most guys that work for the WWE.
Problem is the format, though, a tag match. So Shawn's only like in and out. He's not in the whole match. So you're only going to see bits and pieces of Shawn. That shouldn't be hard for him to work, but you're also not going to see a lot, too. That's
okay. You'll see the bits and pieces that you want to see. You'll see the kip up. You'll see the
super
sweet
kick.
chin music, super kick, You're going to see the Shawn highlights. And that's all people want to see again. See him do his greatest hits one more time.
I guess that's okay, but really, like for the comeback match, if you're a Shawn Michaels fan, you should be very disappointed right now. There was Daniel Bryan in the past they wanted. Didn't happen. There was AJ Styles, I think, like last year or something. Didn't happen. And now we get this instead? I'd be really pissed.
I think it makes sense because Shawn, like we're saying, isn't the performer he used to be. In this match, it won't matter because he won't be exposed. Taker's not the performer he used to be. Kane's not the performer he used to be. Triple H is not the performer he used to be. So Shawn isn't going to stick out like a sore thumb because he's a step behind the action. Because he won't be a step behind. He'll be right in with everybody else. And everybody else is a step behind, but it's less noticeable. If Shawn were in the ring with a Daniel Bryan or an AJ Styles, I think it would be more noticeable, like, wow, he's not really in great shape. Wow, he's not really moving that well. Compare how he moves to the way AJ Styles moves, and wow, Shawn really isn't believable in this role as opponent for AJ or Daniel Bryan, the two best wrestlers in the world. He's not believable to be a threat to these guys anymore because he's so old, and also it wouldn't be good for those guys, for this old retired wrestler, to still be a legit threat to them. It doesn't make them look very good if Shawn Michaels could possibly beat them when Shawn is long retired and in his 50s. It doesn't really look good for them if Shawn could hang. So putting Shawn in a match with those guys, as much as it's a dream match for us wrestling fans, this isn't Shawn Michaels of 1996. It's Shawn Michaels 2018, who's just not that same guy, who would likely be embarrassed in a match with AJ or Daniel Bryan. This is more his speed. This is the Legends Tour. This is like Bellator, like to put it in MMA terms. A lot of these UFC legends, they go over to Bellator because they don't want to fight the young lions anymore. They just want to fight other legends because they don't look so bad when they're fighting these other legends. When you start fighting these young lions, then you look really bad because it's obvious the way they move, the way you move, you're not in their same category. It's like Rampage Jackson's about to fight Wanderlei Silva. Rampage Jackson and Wanderlei Silva could not hang with any of the top 10 light heavyweights in the UFC, but they can hang with each other, and that's why they're fighting in Bellator. This is a similar type of deal. Shawn could not hang with AJ or Bryan, but he can sure as hell hang with Undertaker these days.
I just don't feel it has the same appeal where it's like, oh, I really want to see Undertaker and Kane against Shawn Michaels again. I don't have that desire for it whatsoever. I'd rather see generation versus generation. What would that be like? Yeah, of course, Shawn won't be able to keep up, but how can he keep up? Will he try? What can he do? That's what I want to see. I want to see something different. I don't want to see the same old thing over and over again, especially with Undertaker and Kane. You know exactly what they're going to do. And you talk about guys that, they're in their 50s, they shouldn't have to be put over the young generation. We see it all the time. Taker's still there. Triple H still there.
They're not being put over, these young guys. They're just wrestling each other.
Well, Taker, I find, gets put over most guys.
When's the last time he was put over a young guy?
He beat Rusev in a casket match.
When?
At the Greatest Rumble.
Oh, yeah. So, that barely mattered.
Didn't Kane get a really good run? He went all the way up to the title too as well?
Yeah, Kane had a little run, but that was his last run type of thing.
Yeah, but
Kane is a more active wrestler.
That's true. But they always get their last little run. They'll always be over because they have status. They've been credited with so many big victories. Shawn, credited as one of the greatest champions of all time. It doesn't really matter that he's not as good as he used to be. They'll just tell you he's that good.
Yeah, but we would know, and it would be obvious, and we would see. Whereas in this match, a tag team match, they're just going out there and playing the hits. Like I said, they're doing their greatest hits. They're hitting their highlights. The match doesn't have to be, 30 minutes. Like, if you wanted Shawn to wrestle AJ Styles, you'd want him to go at least 20 minutes. He can't do that anymore.
I think he'd try.
Yeah, but he can't. And it would be sad. I don't want to see Shawn Michaels come out of retirement and then be sad because, Shawn just looks bad. I want to see those guys, the old guys, just kind of do one last little match against each other and move on. That's not sad. That's just nostalgia. That's okay. I'm good with it. I don't know why you're so against it. It makes perfect sense to me.
Well, this isn't moving on. This is just starting it again because apparently we're going to get Undertaker, Shawn Michaels again at WrestleMania.
No way.
You say no way. We've gotten this far. Why not?
Because it's ridiculous. Because there's no way they can top what they did. Because that match was about performance. That match was about the greatest wrestling match in WrestleMania history.
It's WrestleMania 25. 26 was just repeating it.
They were both great. Two of the greatest matches in the history of WrestleMania. We can both agree that they are top, say, 15, 20 matches of all time WrestleMania, which is saying a lot.
I'm not a big fan of 26 that much.
Whatever, John. But, come on, man. They can't do that anymore. It would be sad.
We're getting this. I wouldn't be surprised.
This isn't sad, though. This isn't a performance-based match where these guys have to wrestle like AJ Styles. This is a tag team match where they come in, do their thing, pose, and go home. This is a little thing for the fans. It's barely a match.
It's building towards the big match.
The big match is going to be in Saudi Arabia. They're building towards Triple H and Undertaker, and then the big match will be the tag match that they do in November.
And then WrestleMania.
I would be shocked. Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker again at WrestleMania? I don't think they need to do that. I think what they need to do with Undertaker at WrestleMania next year is John Cena. Cena needs a rematch. Cena needs revenge.
I agree with that, but you really think Shawn's just going to let it just slide with the tag match? That's it?
Yeah.
I'd be surprised. We're not going to get a one-on-one Shawn Michaels match ever again?
I hope not. I mean, whatever. Maybe we will. I'm not against it. Honestly, though, if I were to see one more match for Shawn Michaels, and I have been adamant about this since he retired, I want to see him wrestle The Rock.
No, he dissed The Rock, though. He treated The Rock like a jabroni when The Rock was like not coming up yet. Like,
right, when he was Rocky Maivia, Shawn Michaels was mean to him back in the 90s.
Right.
So? It's 2018. They're two of the biggest stars in the wrestling business. They're two of the biggest stars in the history of the WWE. They've never wrestled. Like Shawn and AJ Styles, yeah, that's cool. Shawn and Daniel Bryan, that's cool. But Shawn against The Rock, that's massive. If I were to see one more match for Shawn Michaels in the WWE one-on-one, that's my pick. Shawn Rock, the Heartbreak Kid against the Dwayne.
See, when The Rock came back to wrestling, it was about giving back to wrestling, and he put over John Cena. He wouldn't come back to help put over Shawn Michaels. Just him wrestling Shawn Michaels, that would kind of put him over. And he wouldn't want to do that because Shawn treated him like garbage. And he doesn't die sometimes. You say, whatever, it was a long time ago. Grudges can last.
Rock is probably going to come back to wrestle Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That's the rumor, right? Roman is
sure
headed...
he would put him over more than Shawn.
Roman, Rock is much more willing, I would think, to put over his cousin Roman than Shawn Michaels. But as a fan, I'd like to see Shawn and Rock. That's what I want to see.
I'm surprised you're not saying Daniel Bryan because that makes the most sense. The student against the teacher.
I don't think Shawn could hang.
I think he could try.
Yeah,
he taught him, right, how to wrestle?
I think Daniel Bryan is a good enough wrestler that he could carry Shawn through a great match, but I think it's kind of not where Daniel Bryan should be. I think Daniel Bryan should be WWE champion. I guess if he's not going to get a WWE title match at WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels would be a great consolation gift. But I don't know. I don't think that match would be as good as we'd want it to be. I think a lot of fans would be left disappointed with that match because Shawn isn't the guy that we remember him to be.
Well, there's a lot of unknowns because Shawn hasn't been in the ring. We don't know what it's going to be like yet until you get to the Crown Jewel event. But the way that things are going for Daniel Bryan right now, that'd be a huge upgrade because he's completely losing to The Miz. Lost again at the pay-per-view.
Well, Brie lost.
Brie, whatever.
What a terrible finish to that match.
Yeah, it was bad.
That roll-up by Maurice was so sloppy. She just rolls up Brie and then she beats her? Maurice is that much better than Brie? That Brie can't get out of a... Like, she didn't cheat? Nothing. She can't get out of that roll-up? Brie couldn't kick out? Didn't look that snug. It was like weird.
That was terrible.
Yeah, so Bryan has now lost 2 matches to The Miz. Is he going to lose this match coming up as well? The Miz, you saw him on SmackDown this week cutting his in-ring promo. Maurice was the guest. Maurice, really dissed Brie and Daniel Bryan, right?
Yeah.
Man, they were going hard. Bryan was Miz was like, Brie only married Bryan because she thought he'd be a big star, but now he's a dud and he's a loser. And wow, it was really rough, really mean stuff that Maurice and Miz were saying. Maurice saying it's our last night on SmackDown. She's going back to take care of the kid, so that's good. No more
good.
Maurice or
Very
whatever.
good.
Daniel Bryan shows up. He attacks The Miz. The Miz got bumped into Maurice. She fell down. Daniel Bryan went to apologize to Maurice. Maurice appeared to be faking the injury. Miz tried to attack Bryan from behind, but it failed. Bryan fought back and sent The Miz packing. Maurice also got bumped off the apron in the whole melee, but she was all right. And Bryan stood tall, and that was really all Daniel Bryan did on SmackDown this week. And he's building towards that number 1 contenders match for the WWE Championship against The Miz. I have a really hard time believing he's going to lose this one too. He lost one-on-one at SummerSlam. He lost the tag team match, the mixed tag match at Hell in a Cell. Is he going to lose the one-on-one match at Super Showdown as well? And then is this all building towards Bryan versus Miz again for the WWE title at WrestleMania? Is this what we're doing? Is Bryan's story going to be, I can't beat Miz? Can Bryan beat The Miz? And Miz can say, yep, you can't beat me. I beat you 3 straight pay-per-views. I'm the number 1 contender for the WWE title. Maybe Miz beats AJ Styles, becomes WWE champion. Bryan wins the Royal Rumble to face The Miz at WrestleMania next year. And the story will be, can Bryan finally conquer The Miz and become WWE champion? Can Bryan beat The Miz? That's not a bad story. But is that where we're going? Is that really what they're doing? And if if we're not headed in that direction, where Bryan eventually conquers Miz at WrestleMania on the grandest stage, and Miz is just going to beat Bryan again, the WWE really needs to rethink their planning for Daniel Bryan. Come on, man. I get it. If Miz is going to beat him at Super Showdown, and then you're going to build Bryan can't beat Miz, and then he finally does at Mania, then it's okay, cool. That's fine. But if not, my whole thing with Daniel Bryan, a lot of Daniel Bryan fans are frustrated saying, they're making him look like just some other guy. He's losing to The Miz. He's a nobody. He's not a nobody. He's still the biggest star on SmackDown. The show pretty much revolves around him. It kind of revolves around AJ and Joe.
Yes.
It should be revolving around Becky Lynch right now. She is straight fire. And I'm not just saying that. She's fantastic. But we'll get to Becky Lynch in a minute. But Daniel Bryan is really the centerpiece to SmackDown. So as long as everything turns out by WrestleMania, I don't think anybody should be pulling that emergency lever, People shouldn't be freaking out that Daniel Bryan isn't WWE champion. Daniel Bryan's losing matches. He's not at the top of the card. It's September. By March, if Daniel Bryan's not headed in that direction, panic time. But now, it's cool. We'll figure it out. Bryan will get there. He's still being featured. He's still looking strong. He's not just losing matches to jobbers, He's losing to The Miz, but is he really? Miz cheated to win at SummerSlam with the brass knuckles. Brie took the pinfall from Maurice at Hell in a Cell. So Miz hasn't really beat Daniel Bryan. So it's okay. I'm not worried. I'll be worried come Royal Rumble time, come WrestleMania time, if Daniel Bryan's not in the mix. Then I'll be worried. If Daniel Bryan's just putting Andrade Cien Almas over at WrestleMania in a match, then get worried. For sure.
Well, you're not worried that he's also kind of stupid? On SmackDown again, he kind of fell for Maurice and Miz, their tricks.
Yeah, he's always falling for their tricks. This was not as bad as the other points. Like the fake baby.
It's bad because he keeps
Bryan,
falling for
with
it.
the fake baby, not only was Bryan evil, but he was also stupid. He was stupid and evil. Yeah. Because Miz had a fake baby. This is a few weeks ago. Miz had a doll. He was pretending it was his daughter. Bryan comes out and he's like, I'm going to punch you in the face, Miz. So Bryan thinks it's a real baby, and he doesn't care. He's going to attack the Miz, potentially putting the baby's life at risk, which is pure evil from Daniel Bryan. And he's also stupid. He's so stupid because he didn't realize, like the rest of us had realized, that it was a fake baby. It was a toy. So he was evil and dumb in that instance. Here he's just dumb, falling for Maurice's tricks. And really, Maurice sold it pretty well. Miz ran into her. She took a bump. Bryan didn't seem that stupid to me this week, whereas in other weeks, the Daniel Bryan character has come off looking quite stupid and sometimes evil and stupid, which is not good for, your top babyface.
It seems like it's a weekly occurrence now. There's always some sort of trick, and Daniel Bryan always falls for it. So it just makes him seem like he is an idiot.
Yeah.
So I think that's why people are very concerned. This is a continuing trend, and it seems like The Miz always wins no matter what. So this is why people are worried.
So Daniel Bryan's a better wrestler, but Miz is smarter.
Exactly. That seems to be the story.
I don't really like cheering for a dumb guy.
I'm sure a lot of people don't.
Yeah. So The Miz and Daniel Bryan and that whole promo thing took up a good chunk of the first bit of SmackDown. And then the New Day comes out. They cut a promo on the ramp. Woods and Big E were dressed like Australian outback people. Big E did an Australian accent. New Day was like, whoa, 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 that's racist. Big E's like, nah, it's okay. The Iconic said it was cool. So he continues with his little Australian accent. It was a little bit weird. And then the Bar, they were in the ring. They tried to talk back to New Day. They failed miserably. Cesaro's like, hey, New Day, you tell your recycled jokes and you're not even funny. And then Sheamus is like, yeah, fella, you guys are a joke. And I'm like, wait a second. Cesaro just said they're not funny, and Sheamus just said they're a joke. Which is it, Bar? And then they said, we don't just set the bar, we are the bar. So that happened. And it took 30 minutes for the first wrestling match on SmackDown to take place. 30 minutes into a 2-hour show. We're a quarter of the way through, and finally Cesaro wrestled Kofi Kingston, beating him in a tremendous match with a horrifying neutralizer. Did you see that move he hit him with? My God. I thought Kofi could have died during that move. Like, he could have broken his neck. That was nasty. Usually Cesaro, tucks you and grabs, he has more control over your body, but he just kind of flapped Kofi down, almost like a Styles Clash neutralizer. It was nasty. Nasty. I thought the match was great, but man, really 30 minutes before you get to the first wrestling match on a wrestling show? Seemed a bit weird.
Well, it's WWE. A lot of it's just storytelling, so it makes a lot of sense. And we just came off a pay-per-view, so just talk.
It's a promo-based wrestling show, right?
And it's mainly just driven by characters. It's not the wrestling that drives it. It's the characters that drive it.
Like New Day.
Exactly.
Is this Australian thing their new gimmick?
It's because they're going to be at the Super Showdown. That's pretty much it.
Oh, I see. I didn't connect those dots for some reason. I'm a little slow sometimes.
You got to wake up early for that, too, by the way.
Yeah, it's like 4 a.m. in Australia?
Yeah. Well, no, 4 a.m. for us. I think it's like 7 for them or something.
Yeah, I'll record it and watch it after. So don't expect a live post show for the Super Showdown because it'll have to be at 7 a.m. and I'm not doing that.
You got Ringside Report the day before, so yeah.
Yeah, and we got Conor McGregor that night. It's gonna be a great day. October 6th is gonna be awesome. WWE Super Showdown during the day. Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov at night. Hell yeah. Johnny North, we got a lot more to get to. I want to talk about Becky Lynch and Randy Orton being abusive to another WWE employee. I don't know if you noticed that, but Randy just abusing more people, abusing more WWE employees. We'll get to that. And a big return this week on Monday Night Raw that I was actually excited about. It is Ringside Report. No, what is it? What is this show?
Wrestling Uncensored?
Yeah, it's Wrestling Uncensored. You mentioned Ringside Report Radio. You got me confused, John. I do too many shows. It's Wrestling Uncensored. We're here. What radio station is this?
It's TSN 690.
Maybe you should go to break for us.
We'll be right back.
Hey, this is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and you are listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Santino Morella, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Rob Van Dam. You're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
All right, welcome back. It is Wrestling Uncensored. I am Dave Simon. He is Johnny North here on TSN 690 every Saturday night talking professional wrestling. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dave Simon MMA. Dave Simon MMA on both platforms. You can follow Johnny North on Twitter at North Genesis, and then on Instagram at Genesis Johnny North.
Sounds good.
It does sound good. Johnny North, big return on Raw this week. Nia Jax was back.
Oh, yeah. Big return. Great.
Look, she has had the best match with Ronda Rousey. She is a big star in the Raw women's division. She's important. Whether you like it or not, she's important, and she came back this week. She teamed with Ember Moon to beat Alicia Fox and Mickie James.
Did you really care about that match?
I was surprised to see Nia Jax back. I was wondering where she was. I was happy to see her back. That's right. Talking positively about Nia Jax. How do you like that, John? I'm a Nia Jax fan now. Ever since that match with Ronda Rousey, she's won me over. What a great match. Better than Alexa Bliss's match with Ronda Rousey. I didn't think Alexa's match at SummerSlam was that good. People said that the match at Hell in a Cell was better.
It was.
But was it that good? I didn't think it was that good.
Well, there's not much to Ronda. That's the problem, too.
Ronda cannot bump.
She's still new at this.
Yeah, but she cannot bump, right? Have you seen her take one flat back bump down on the mat? One. That looked clean, like a wrestler does.
I think she needs some work. She's done a...
Have you seen her take a bump?
I found in the Nia match, she took a powerbomb pretty good.
Yeah, a power bump. But I'm saying, take a clothesline, do a flat back bump. Can she do that? That seems to be Wrestling 101, and Ronda does not have that down.
The thing is, who's going to do that to her? Alexa Bliss isn't going to do that to her.
Okay, but does she have the ability to take a bump? I didn't see her take one solid bump during the match. And that, to me, is what she's missing. That's the major part that she is missing. She can sell. She's got good facial expressions when she looks hurt. But when she's taking the beating, when she's taking the moves, when she's getting tossed around, it's very clunky. And when she's hitting her moves, too, a lot of times it's she's throwing somebody and she looks like she's going to fall over. Her footwork isn't there.
Right, but I think that's just going to come with time, though. Again, she just, started wrestling. They expect that she's going to be, a top star. You throw in that role, and you're going to get stuff like this.
Did she injure Alexa Bliss?
Apparently. I didn't really notice, it was that rough, but... This is the thing with Ronda. A couple of her shots, maybe they were kind of too snug, and it caused an injury. A
lot of those whips that she does, those judo throws where she grabs the arm and just kind of whips you over her body, those are rough looking. You're going to pop a shoulder out eventually doing that.
Her punches, too.
Her punches are stiff.
I could imagine they do look stiff.
A little stiffsky.
But that's also the appeal of her, too, right?
I feel like Alexa was hitting her with some hard shots, too, because she knew she needed to. When Alexa throws those normal strikes that she throws, they don't look damaging to Ronda Rousey. Maybe for a seasoned wrestler that can sell them, that's not as imposing as Ronda Rousey. You're throwing those kicks at whoever, Mickie James or Natty, they'll work. But you throw those punches and kicks at Ronda Rousey, they look fake. And it seemed like at one point Ronda said, okay, bring it. And Alexa brought it, and she hit her with some stiff shots. I don't know if you noticed, but Renee Young said, Alexa Bliss hitting Ronda with those kicking strikes. You could just say kicks. You could just say kicks, Renee. Kicking strikes.
Hey, everyone wanted her over Coach, right? So
Kicking strikes. I heard that. I was like, what? What? I don't think so. Kicking strikes. Also, Renee, when Dean Ambrose is wrestling and getting his ass kicked, maybe have a little bit of fear in your voice. Maybe be worried about your husband. Everybody knows that Renee Young is married to Dean Ambrose. She's on commentary now. Dean Ambrose was getting beat up by Drew McIntyre at Hell in a Cell. And what does Renee say? Drew McIntyre, he's really a great athlete. If you ever watch the UFC, okay, and you see real fights, which is what this is supposed to be. This is supposed to look like a real fight, right? It's a simulation. It's not a real fight. We all know it's predetermined, but pro wrestling, you're supposed to simulate a real fight, right?
Right.
In a real fight situation, you see the wives of UFC fighters are sitting octagon side. They're not doing commentary, first of all. Second of all, they're sitting octagon side, and they got like their hands over their faces. They're in tears half the time. They don't know what's going to happen. They're worried because their husbands, the people they love the most, that they live with, they're in trouble, and their physical well-being is at stake. Dean Ambrose's physical well-being is supposed to be at stake in that match against Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. Renee Young does not make you feel like Dean Ambrose's well-being is on the line. You're his wife. You should be worried about your husband when he's wrestling. It takes the audience out of it when we know he's your husband and you don't seem all that concerned. If Renee Young, Dean Ambrose's husband, she loves him. If you're not concerned, Renee Young, why should anybody be concerned about Dean Ambrose? Doesn't really build much sympathy for that babyface when his own wife is complimenting his opponent as he's kicking her husband's ass. It's ridiculous.
Now, I'm sure her response back to that is that she has to be unbiased on commentary.
Why? Is Corey Graves unbiased on commentary? Nope.
But that's her character, that she's professional and she sees it right down the middle kind of thing. Doesn't matter.
Stupid. She doesn't, though. She takes sides. Everybody takes sides on commentary. And you know what? Being down the middle is not good commentary. You know who was really good at commentary? Bobby the Brain Heenan. You think he called it down the middle, or did he take sides? He took sides. He was always on the heel side. This is what the WWE has been missing for the past maybe 10 years. A heel and a babyface on commentary. The play-by-play guy is a babyface. He's going to call it down the middle. He's going to go for the babyfaces. He wants the babyfaces to win, and he thinks the heels are all dastardly. The heel commentary, he's the color commentary. He's going to crack jokes. He's going to be a heel, and he's going to cheer for the heels. And when the heels cheat, they're not cheating. They didn't see that. It's the referee's fault. It's somebody else's fault. It's not really happening. That's what's missing in the WWE, a clear babyface and a clear heel commentator. I don't know why they don't do that anymore. It worked so well. All these things the WWE used to do that worked really well, they have drifted away from because that's not how we do things anymore, pal. Okay, well, who are you pushing for your next big show? Well, The Undertaker and Triple H, pal. Well, didn't they come up under the system where you used to do things the way you don't do them anymore? Well, pal, come on. This is the business. What are you... You know, like they don't make sense. They say, look, the way we used to do things is wrong. The greatest era, though, was the Attitude Era. Okay, well, how did you do things back then? Way different than how we do them now. Well, shouldn't you go back and do them the way you used to do? No, that's ridiculous. Don't be stupid, pal. We got Michael Cole now and Roman Reigns. Things are way better than Jim Ross and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I'm like, nope. No, it's not. It's worse. It's much, much worse.
Well, I can understand that they wanted to evolve the show, change the show, because everything gets stale over time, right?
Sure, but certain things always work. Everything gets stale over time. Okay, fine. Change the show. No more music for people that come out. How about that? No more theme songs.
Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, they've been doing it for so long. Let's just cut theme songs out. Let's just stop that. Because, it's played out. Like, no, it's stupid. It works. Let's keep doing it. There are things in the wrestling business that are tried and true and will work forever. A heel commentator and a babyface commentator always work well together. It works. It makes sense.
Well, Corey Graves is really the heel commentator on the show.
Yeah, but when you don't have a clear babyface, it's really hard for him to be a heel.
I think Michael Cole's kind of in between, and Renee's pretty much the face.
Yeah, but she's not, because she's complimenting Drew McIntyre, who's a heel, when he's beating up her babyface husband.
But she's the face where she's good to everybody. Universally good. Well, Mike Cole, I think, will just...
I don't know. I don't really think highly of a woman who compliments the man who's beating up her husband. You know, that doesn't seem like a babyface move to me. That seems like kind of a heelish move. Wow, Renee is not really that supportive, eh? That's her husband right there. He's getting his ass kicked in the ring by Drew McIntyre, and all she can talk about is how great of an athlete he is. Drew McIntyre beat Dean Ambrose again on Raw this week in a one-on-one match. And Renee seemed fine with it.
Again.
Oh, what a Claymore kick by Drew McIntyre. What? He just kicked your husband in the face. Is he okay? Can't you say, like, oh, man, I hope Dean's okay? Dean. Something.
Doesn't want to be biased.
It's stupid. It's stupid. It takes you out of it. It takes you out of it. Because when
I
you
agree.
know that Renee is the wife of the guy and she's not concerned, then no one else should be.
It does take away from the realism.
If your wife doesn't care about you, Dean Ambrose, I sure as hell don't.
Well, we knew that already.
I've been enjoying Dean Ambrose since he came back. He's in much better shape. His wrestling has improved. His matches are better. I didn't think his match with Drew McIntyre was very good, but I feel like he is putting in extra effort to his performances. I feel like he watched a lot of tape when he was gone. I think he thought a lot about how to improve himself. I'm sure he looked at himself and thought, man, that guy looks terrible, because he's looking a lot better now. The haircut works. I didn't like his old hair. The physique, he's in much better shape. He seems like he's taking professional wrestling more seriously now than he used to. Since the injury, maybe he had some sort of life realization. I don't know what it was, but I feel like something has finally clicked in Dean Ambrose, and he is a far better performer now than he was before the injury. Since he's come back, I have been impressed. I'm not saying that he's my favorite wrestler on the roster, but he is no longer my least favorite. Jinder Mahal, congratulations. You have that crown.
Wow.
Shanti.
I'm surprised you say much better shape. I think he's in better shape.
Those shoulders are looking good, man. He looks good.
He's no Lex Luger.
He's no Lex Luger, but I mean, a few of us are. Only you could be as jacked as the total package.
I'm not even there myself, but I try.
Yeah, you try.
But Dean Ambrose definitely doesn't try.
Well, I mean, he can't be Lex Luger. He can't be Jinder Mahal. That guy's jacked.
Exactly.
Yeah, but so what?
Yeah, well,
Dean is a better
lot.
in-ring performer. And I haven't seen him do that clothesline thing once since he came back.
Certain things, injuries take away certain moves.
I don't think it was injuries. I think he realized, wow, that thing's really stale. I should probably stop doing that. I hope he figured that out. I don't know. I don't know what clicked in Dean Ambrose's mind, but I feel since he's come back, he's been far better.
I definitely like the look a lot better. And he does seem a bit smoother in the ring.
Yeah.
But he hasn't done too much, too, as well. He's been in tags, short single matches. He's not in those long single matches right now, so I think that helps him a lot.
I'll tell you what. You had Dean Ambrose against Drew McIntyre, but then the following match was way better. Chad Gable versus Victor. And you know, like Drew McIntyre and Dean Ambrose, they're pushed way harder than Chad Gable and Victor from the Ascension. But I thought that the performance was far better. The match was far better. Chad Gable finally getting a little pushki here on Raw. He is one of the best wrestlers in the WWE today. He went to the Olympics for wrestling. The guy is as legit as they come, and some of the moves that he pulls off in the ring are incredible. The guy he's a great worker. He's teaming with Bobby Roode now for some reason, trying to make Bobby Roode relevant, or I guess the storyline is Bobby Roode's making him relevant, but, you know, we all know the truth. Chad Gable is the guy supporting that whole thing. He's an incredible talent. And I've been talking about how great Chad Gable is for years now, and I will continue to do so until he gets what he deserves, which is a top spot in the WWE, because he's one of the best wrestlers they have.
Well, in terms of wrestling, without question, I think without question as well, he's also probably going to be a trainer in WWE development one day.
Maybe. But, like, you know, you had Dolph Ziggler against Seth Rollins again. Seth Rollins beat Dolph Ziggler to retain the Intercontinental Championship. Everybody freaks out about Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler and how great workers they are. Chad Gable is better. I much prefer watching Chad Gable than any of those other so-called great workers on Raw. Gable is the man. Apart from Kevin Owens, Gable is my favorite wrestler on Monday Night Raw.
Well, he was just lacking the storyline / gimmick because there wasn't much going on with that. So Bobby Roode actually helps him in that sense. Where Bobby Roode, that's pretty much all he has.
And it seems like Bobby Roode and Gable, they're teaming together, but Gable tags himself in a lot. He wants to do all the work, and I think Bobby Roode is going to get mad, and they're eventually going to turn on each other and have a little feud. That's where it seems to be going.
Well, that's fine, right? Get Roode a heel turn and give Gable a strong singles push. That's not a problem with that.
Not a problem at all. How about Kevin Owens? What did he do on Raw this week? Not too much. Not too much, right? Elias beat Bobby Lashley by disqualification when Lio Rush kicked him in the head.
Yeah, the Lio Rush thing's kind of weird this week. It was really weird.
Lio Rush is Bobby Lashley's new manager. Elias was in the ring. He plays the guitar for a while. He says, "Who wants to walk with Elias?" And then, they all...
Same thing.
Yeah, he does the Who Wants to Walk with Elias, talks about how great he is. He says, WWE stands for, and they do Walk with Elias. And then Lio Rush showed up, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Lio Rush. I'm Bobby Lashley's manager." And Elias is like, "You're a child. Get out of here."
That was a great line.
Lio Rush is like, "Shut up, Elias." And then Elias wrestles Bobby Lashley, and Kevin Owens shows up during the match to attack Lio Rush, because Lio Rush had called him a coward on commentary, right? Lio Rush was on commentary. Kevin Owens didn't like that. Tried to attack Lio Rush, chases him down. Lio Rush did some pretty cool moves to avoid Kevin Owens and Elias, though, like jumping around.
He's athletic.
He's a very athletic dude. Very athletic. So Rush was dodging Kevin Owens, and Elias was trying to catch him, so Rush kind of threw a kick in self-defense, which caused the disqualification because he kicked Elias, and Elias was in a match with Lashley. Lashley then tossed Rush on both Kevin Owens and Elias after the match. I thought Lio Rush had a cool little performance there. I enjoyed, maybe not his promo so much, but his athleticism when he was getting chased by Elias and Kevin Owens. I am not hating the pairing of Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley. I think it's got potential.
It's just the idea that he's his manager. He's not really his manager. He's more like his mouthpiece / crash test dummy, pretty much.
Sure.
I don't believe for 1 second Lio Rush is like setting up all his, signings and live events and all this. I doubt he's doing his business for him. But that's the gimmick, though, right? But Lio Rush clearly is not in that whatsoever.
Okay, but managers have never been the real business behind their guys. Except for Paul Ellering, who I understand really did handle the business of the Legion of Doom. Wrestling, Matt, like Jimmy Hart didn't do business for the Hart Foundation, Bobby Heenan didn't take care of stuff for, the Warlord and whatever.
But they sold the gimmick that they did, though.
Yeah, well, they're selling the gimmicks that Lio Rush is.
Oh,
so
I just don't believe that whatsoever.
Well, and you believed it with Bobby Heenan?
I believed it with Jimmy Hart. 100%.
Well, you're a mark, John.
It's a different kind of sell.
You were a bigger mark back then than you are now. You're just wiser, and you know that managers don't actually do that kind of stuff.
Well, no, Lio Rush is not your traditional manager. That's the problem.
Because he jumps around?
Well, he jumps around, and he pretty much just is a wrestler saying that he's a manager, and it's very obvious to tell.
Well, Bobby Heenan used to be a wrestler.
It's a bit different. He transitioned into a manager. That's true. But it just worked with Heenan. Heenan could pull that off.
You're saying Lio Rush is not working?
So far, but I mean, this is 1 week, right? But it's just, it's tough to say, like, oh, now I'm a manager, when clearly you're just a wrestler.
Well, clearly he's not. He's wearing a suit, John. That means he's a manager.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay.
They're all wearing suits backstage.
Ronda Rousey was not wearing a suit. She commended Alexa Bliss for her efforts at Hell in a Cell. She did a little promo. She says she wants to be the best champion ever, like Bret Hart, Steve Austin, or Ric Flair.
That's pretty cool.
I like that Ronda Rousey said she wants to be the best champion ever. And she didn't say like Triple H or Shawn Michaels, She said like Bret Hart, Steve Austin, and Ric Flair, which is a very WWE guy to say, Ric Flair. But like Bret Hart is not often put out there as like the greatest champion of all time. So for Ronda Rousey to go out and say, I want to be the best champion ever like Bret Hart. I mean, obviously she's got the tie-in with Natty, but I thought that was very cool.
Well, I think it's 100% because of the tie-in with Natty. And I think because she's been on Austin's podcast, I think, she respects Austin a lot. Austin, I think, also went to her UFC events as well.
Ronda Rousey doing an open challenge for the Women's Championship. Natalia's music hit, which I think they're teasing. I think they're teasing Natty turning on Ronda eventually, but it's not going to happen yet. But Natty was dragged out by the Riot Squad because the Riot Squad had beat up Natty. and then they attack Ronda, and the Bella Twins made the save and help Ronda take out the Riot Squad, which is setting up the match in a couple of weeks at the Super Showdown. It will be Brie and Nikki Bella with Ronda Rousey taking on Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, and Ruby Riott, the Riot Squad.
So are we just building up towards the Bellas turn on Ronda, and then Nikki challenging Ronda for the title at the women's pay-per-view?
That's the rumor.
Fine, let's do it.
Why not?
Just get it over with. I don't think it's going to be a good match either way, so just do it, because you got nothing else going on. If you're not going to do Ronda and Stephanie, because I guess they abandoned that.
Did they?
Do we talk about it all now? No.
Nah.
Stephanie's not on TV. That's the match to do, and they're not doing it.
Ronda and Nikki is a big match, too.
Yeah, it's not going to be as good, though.
I don't know about that, John. Like, I don't know why you think Stephanie McMahon is a better wrestler than Nikki Bella. Nikki Bella is one of the longest reigning champions in the history of the women's division, and she's like a full-time wrestler. Stephanie's not a full-time wrestler.
Stephanie has that ability to make you want to see her face get punched in. And Nikki doesn't really have that. I mean, Nikki's annoying, but I just don't want to see Nikki on TV. I don't care if she gets her face punched in or not. Stephanie, I really want to see her get her face smashed.
Well, that's not very nice of you, John.
What are you talking about? It's complimenting Stephanie how good of a heel she is.
She is a great heel, but Nikki's a good heel, too.
I don't think so.
Fine. How about that Andrade Cien Almas AJ Styles match on SmackDown this week? The Styles Clash from AJ Styles to beat Andrade. Incredible the way he rolled out of it and then hit Andrade with that move. Andrade Cien Almas is going to be a big star in the WWE. If everything goes the way it's going, he's going to be huge. He is a tremendous performer. Him and AJ have great matches together. They have great chemistry, and they had another great one on SmackDown this week. I loved it. I love seeing these two guys wrestle.
Well, more than likely, whoever beats Nakamura, I think Almost is going to beat that guy more than likely. Now, Jeff Hardy would make sense, but I guess Jeff Hardy is obsolete for now.
I guess he's been deleted. Randy Orton was backstage in the production truck abusing a production guy. I guess that's his gimmick now. He just abuses WWE employees, right? It makes sense for Randy. It's pretty much on brand for him.
You got to put over what he did at Hell in a Cell, because that was the moment of the whole pay-per-view.
What a pay-per-view. God, the screwdriver through the ear, I could not look. I had to look away.
Well, I'm surprised he didn't pass out.
It turned my stomach. It was disgusting. It was vile.
It definitely made my stomach turn a little bit.
Yeah, right? And when the screwdriver was finally out of Jeff's ear, and Jeff's, like, the hole in his ear was, like, hanging. Like, you could see it did damage.
Oh, the blood. There was a lot of blood.
It was so violent. It was so violent. It was almost like you weren't watching a WWE match. It was more violent than anything they do. It was very much out of character for the WWE to do that. And I loved it. And if that's what Randy Orton is doing right now, he's just a really violent guy, cool. I'm down with Randy.
Well, I think it helps that it was Jeff Hardy, and Jeff is crazy and was willing to have someone do that to him.
Randy was holding the production guy hostage to make him show replays of himself beating up Jeff Hardy, and then said, this is nothing compared to what I'm going to do to my next victim. So it appears as though Randy and Jeff, they are done. It is over. Randy is looking for his next feud.
Daniel Bryan?
Would make sense, wouldn't it? That would suck, though, for Randy to beat up Daniel Bryan now.
Oh,
I don't want to see that violence inflicted upon Daniel Bryan.
It gives a reason for how The Miz is going to win at the Super Showdown.
I guess. Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Rusev to retain the United States Championship. Rusev was distracted by Aiden English, telling him to crush. Aiden, then upset with Rusev for blaming him all the time for the losses, attacked Rusev after the match. It seems as though Rusev Day is over.
Well, we thought this was going to happen like months ago, right? We thought SummerSlam these two were going to wrestle. So the fact that they dragged it out this long at least shows that they believed in Rusev Day and wanted to give it at least a decent push. And now it's run its course, fine. And now they're going to have a singles match against each other. Will it even make the Super Showdown or just a SmackDown?
Probably just a SmackDown.
That's disappointing.
Do you really need to see this match, though? Does you expect just Rusev to win and then whatever?
It does have a bit of build, though, because they've been building towards this breakup. So
I feel bad for Aiden English having to break up with Rusev Day now because it'll probably send him into obscurity. It's like when The Miz dropped Damian Sandow or Alex Riley. Was that his name?
It was. But...
You know, like it's similar. Like Aiden English was really nowhere. He latched onto Rusev. He became a piece of the Rusev puzzle, and then he was important in WWE. But if he leaves Rusev and then he loses to Rusev, he becomes unimportant in WWE, and he could find himself, gone from pro wrestling like Damian Sandow. Where'd that guy go?
It's not impossible, but
where is he? Is he even in wrestling anymore?
I don't think he is, actually, unfortunately.
Wow. I mean, think about how over he was just a few years ago.
I don't know if Aiden English has really gotten that over.
Well, no, he hasn't. That's what I'm saying. If that could happen to Sandow, we're super over, and now he's gone, not in wrestling anymore. Imagine what could happen to Aiden English.
It could happen, but he's on SmackDown where they're lacking heels, so he might be saved by that.
Are they lacking heels or lacking baby faces?
I don't think they really have.
They have a lot of heels. They've got Randy. They've got Shinsuke. They've got other guys. Samoa Joe. Right? Andrade Cien Almas. I mean, they have enough heels. Who do they have? They have The Miz. Who do they have babyface-wise? Bryan and AJ. Who else is a babyface on SmackDown?
R-Truth.
They need babyfaces.
Rusev.
That's about it.
Again, one of the New Day...
SmackDown needs babyfaces more than heels.
Yeah, but you're also going to need some heels to help push up new babyfaces.
You're saying the New Day, one of them should break off and be a babyface?
I think Big E with a singles run makes sense.
Are they doing it?
They could.
New Day versus Nakamura. That's what I want to see.
Well, I'm thinking Big E versus Nakamura.
Well, sure. Yeah, but New Day in a feud a little bit with Nakamura. Maybe he takes the U.S. title from him.
I could see it. Yeah, sure.
All right, finally now the championship coronation. Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair finished off SmackDown this week. They were the main event. Paige in the ring with Becky Lynch for the championship coronation. I don't know why they did this. The women's title was like under a sheet.
It was weird.
It was really weird because it's the same belt. Usually when you do that, it's like, oh, we're going to present a new championship belt. It's going to be brand new. I guess it has Becky Lynch face plates on it now, like the side plates.
Right.
So maybe it's slightly different, but it's like, this is the same belt. We're going to reveal the belt to be the exact same belt you saw every other night. Like, it was weird that it was under a sheet. It really had no reason to be hidden. And then, Becky Lynch took the title, and she talked about how it's been 2 years since she's been champion. It's been way too long, and she asked why the whole women's roster wasn't around the ring for the championship celebration like they were when Ronda Rousey won the women's title for Raw. The whole roster was there, right? But Becky not getting the same treatment over on SmackDown. Becky said, it's okay. There's only one woman I want here, Charlotte Flair. Come on out. So Becky, so bold, calls out Charlotte. Charlotte comes out. She congratulates Becky on beating her at Hell in a Cell, saying, I'm going to give you the respect that you didn't show me at SummerSlam. I'm going to say congratulations. I'll shake your hand. And Becky's like, no. I don't want you to shake my hand. I want you to wrap the title around my waist. And Charlotte's like, no, I'm not doing that. And Becky's like, okay, that's not really what I wanted you to do anyways. I just want you to call me the queen. And Charlotte looks at her. She's like, you'll never be queen. And she walks away. And Becky goes, bitch. So Charlotte, of course, when you say that, it's like, telling a man in WWE he has no balls. The fight is on automatically. Becky says, bitch. Charlotte attacks. They get into a brawl. Becky, though, gets the upper hand, tosses Charlotte over the announce table, puts her in a disarmer, hits a Bexploder, takes her title, leaves Charlotte laying. Becky Lynch stands tall. I thought the promo was great. I think Becky Lynch's matches are great. I thought their match at Hell in a Cell was very good. She beat Charlotte clean. Becky is a superstar. She is going to be huge in wrestling. If they do this right, Becky could be like the next Stone Cold Steve Austin. She is so good. Her promos are so good. Everything she does is perfect. She's everything you would want in a champion. My goodness, I'm impressed with Becky Lynch. What a talent.
Well, I think she's losing at the Super Showdown.
You think she'll lose to Charlotte?
Well, because they're going to wrestle again at Evolution, right? So it just makes sense that they're just flip-flopping the title.
Just run those numbers up for Charlotte's title count, right? Like her father.
Exactly.
He was 16-time champion. Charlotte's what, like 8-time champion at this point? She's almost there.
I want to say 5 or 6.
Yeah, but it's getting there.
Oh, yeah, it will eventually.
It would make sense for Charlotte to win at the Super Showdown and then Becky to take it back at Women's Evolution.
You don't have too many title matches, and you don't expect too many titles to change hands, so why not this one? Much like Hell in a Cell.
It makes sense.
They're going to wrestle again, so I hope people don't freak out when Becky's title reign ends very quickly.
I'd rather it didn't, but I understand why it might.
Well, she more than likely will get it back, right? The way this is going?
I think so. I think she'll get it back soon enough. Johnny North, when's your next match? When can people see you in the ring?
It'll be Saturday, October 6th. Not at the Super Showdown, but in Montreal at 4325 Industrial Boulevard, 7:30 p.m. Big match.
Big match. Follow Johnny North on Twitter at North Genesis, on Instagram at Genesis Johnny North. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dave Simon MMA. Big shout out to Jimmy and Marco for helping us out back at TSN 690, and a thanks to you for listening. WrestlingUncensored.net is our website. Check out our YouTube channel. Check out WrestlingUncensored.net. All our shows, Ringside Report Radio, What's Phantom in Japan, the new episode of the New Japan podcast with myself and Green Phantom will drop this week at WrestlingUncensored.net. Subscribe on iTunes. We're on Google Play. We're on TuneIn Radio. We're everywhere you get your podcast. Go subscribe. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We need subscribers to our YouTube channel. We're on a push to hit 1,000. We need to hit 1,000 so we can start getting some cash from YouTube, and we can start doing more content and more big things for Wrestling Uncensored. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. Hit that subscribe button, hit a like. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We don't ask much of you, Wrestling Uncensored Universe, but we would like you very much to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help us out a great deal moving forward and expanding the coverage for you. For Johnny North, I am Dave Simon, and this has been Wrestling Uncensored. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.